Okay, hi guys, welcome back. I am at it again this morning. It's been a while since I've been able to focus on my videos. I've got a lot happening offline. I've been doing this really brutal detox for weeks and weeks now, and I'm not even done with it, but I'm starting to see the other side of it, and I'm noticing that as my detoxification progresses, I'm having this huge increase in synchronicity. I mean, crazy synchronicity, especially involving my brother and some of my closest friends. And it's been a fascinating and actually really heartwarming for me. I'm having, it's resulting in an increase in stability and clarity, and so all of this difficulty and effort has definitely been worth it. And so I want to get back to doing videos as much as I can. And today I'm going to do a very off the cuff, kind of loosely organized video that is a bit of a sequel to my Time and Gravity's Rainbow and Diamond Body video that I did back in January. And eventually, I'm going to take a lot of this material and organize it better and make it into a real edited video, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So I wanted to continue my notes on this. And, it's really just because I have friends that like to do this with me and we stimulate each other's awareness. And sometimes, even if you disagree with what I say, it might actually stimulate your awareness to even more like why you think the way you do about this stuff. And this talk will also relate a little bit to this old video, which is terribly presented because back in 2015 I didn't even have a screenshot program. I was so clueless about editing, and it's just been really a huge learning curve for me, as most of you have observed. And also, I haven't had a chance to go get a new microphone yet. I've been really busy. Like, they're delivering a new washing machine today, and you know how they are. They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just call you sometime during the day and then show up." So I'm just going to be waiting here all day for that, and I have to do a bunch of chores around all that. That's why I'm just going to make this a quick video. But I think I'll start with, I want to start by just mentioning this model again, because I made this model sort of off the top of my head to sort of study some of the ways that I look at time and the densities and our reality and the prism and, plasma and beyond, right? And the elements and how it all fits in with the rainbow for me. And so what's interesting and what I've realized, especially in relation to the whole idea of the Mandela Effect, which I'm going to do a whole other video on again. I've got way more to say about that, is that, in our crystalline reality, where things are solidified and manifested, it really seems like our reality is very much set in stone. And as you get into, the crystalline and the solid densities, that's where the computers come in, right? But what I've realized is this is all just a mirror of these subtler densities, right? And so at the plasma level, the numbers are in flux and the potentialities are more in flux. And that's where I think that's where we're finding these changes are happening that are then reflected in these more solid densities. And I do think there is something scientifically to the Mandela effect, even though a lot of people are chasing their tails about it. And actually, a lot of people seem to be gaslighting themselves about the Mandela effect. It's kind of funny. But that's how these memes go. So I wanted to give mention to that because that's where I'm going to be going with some of my other work on this. And this morning I made another quick, cheap model by hand because I wanted to kind of explain some more of my ideas about this. And I've just sort of loosely laid this out, but basically, I've been really contemplating this whole issue of dark matter. And the model that I have with the eye and the triangle here is really basic, and obviously it's in 2D, but it's meant, you can think of it in 3D, where we have, the atomic point, and the dot inside the circle is a symbol for the sun. It's a symbol for the soul. It's a symbol for the atom, and this, of course, exists in space, right? And so science is kind of trying to figure out this dark matter factor. And I'm representing it here as the triangle because the triangle obviously corresponds with the core of the matrix. Until you have three sides to a figure, it's you have to have three sides to have a matrix, right? And that's why, the number 3 is associated with Bina or Saturn. It's associated with the prism, and really it has to do with the matrix or womb. And so dark matter, of course, is not observable, and science doesn't understand it. And I find really the fact that they're trying to find some elusive particle to be really funny, because I actually think the fact that they call dark matter, it's not matter at all, really. And it just shows how the reductionist model is holding science back. And yet that force of contraction and expansion is there. And so we have, the light and that which is observable to the eye. And then we have that which is not observable, which seems to have a contracting effect. And this really gets into the archetype of Saturn if you go deeper with it. So let's see here. And so really this dot at the center, and it also corresponds with the hourglass. And my friend Sophie was talking about the sun as a converter. And I think she's totally right on. And I think that the atom is also a converter. So we have this fractal converter. And if you get down to it, it's like every atom is like a little sun in of itself. And all of this is fractal, and it's organizing itself and observing itself. And I think that this expansion is about the observation, and the contraction is about maintaining that form. And that is how, in our matrix, the shell forms, right? And it's notable that the word shell has the word hell in it. And a lot of people think of our reality as hell because it can be so hellish. Oh my gosh, just do a detox. It's like misery and sorrow and negativity exist as much as positivity and love and light. And so in a way, like, our reality ends up giving us that dark mirror. And it's no wonder, that the elusive, negatively tend to be negative Illuminati are associated with the eye in the triangle, right? But their eye in the triangle is inverted. And even though when you look at the eye in the triangle, for instance, on the dollar bill, that is inverted, okay? And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Just because it's flipped over and you're looking at a picture of it upright doesn't mean it is, esoterically. So anyway, this is a really esoteric talk, but I think a lot of you see where I'm going with this and why I set up this channel to do these half-baked esoteric talks. Because it's really hard. Sometimes you have to talk around this kind of stuff. And language can be very limiting as well. But anyway, I just wanted to post that for you guys to show you how my mind is stimulated about this. Okay. And so we end up, let's see here. So let's get into the color wheel and the gravity's rainbow, right? I found this wonderful graphic. This illustrates time in the rainbow, because I was trying to wrap my mind around time in the rainbow, and then I found this seasonal palette, and I was like, this is perfect, right? The way that the seasons go around, the way the earth turns. And the colors of the seasons actually really kind of are an exoteric representation of this concept of gravity's rainbow, right? And I think that that sort of gave me a lot of insight. And let's see here. So I just wanted to show you guys some more of these pictures because I think I've shown you that one before. Again, this is where the geometry of light comes in. The eye, the soul, all of these things have an esoteric connection. And remember, obviously, I've said it before a dozen times, the map and the model is not the territory. They're for stimulating awareness and for going beyond the scaffolding and the shells. And this is how we get into, this is how we get past language, right? This is how we get past these constructs. This is how we get beyond the shells, because in our reality, people are so caught up in the shells. This is why the money game has become so toxic. This is why people are so greedy and materialistic. And this is why science is so reductionist, right? They're just stuck in that particle realm. It's like the mind and the ego doesn't like space. The ego likes this dot in the circle. And it wants to keep you in there, really. And the way our reality crystallizes can be represented esoterically and exoterically, but this is a little graphic of the moon and the moon phases that really I think is perfect for illustrating the whole diamond body crystallization, because the moon esoterically has to do with the foundation, and that's where the crystallization really happens. In many ways, I see esoterically how the moon is like Saturn Jr. And so this is a great representation of that. It was posted by this Karina P. lady on Google+. Part of the reason I went back to Google+ is because a lot of people post some interesting esoteric graphics and things like that. Again, this is just sort of like a model for our crystalline reality. Now, the moon is very close to the Earth and obviously has an effect on the Earth. That effect has everything to do with the density. And this is why, Pink Floyd associates the moon with the prism. The lunar prism is something to really contemplate as far as what if the moon did not exist in orbit? What if there was no moon? How would that affect our actual atomic manifestation? It's fascinating for me to think about. Let's see then. Okay, so again, green is at the center of the rainbow, right? And it's interesting because, oh wait, let me pause this because I want to pull something up. Okay, here it is, that Fortress of Solitude. Remember when Superman finds his Fortress of Solitude, he seeds it with a green crystal, and that is so, I feel that is very symbolic because obviously Superman represents the solar man, and yet he's also very Saturnine. And so green and pink obviously are big colors when it comes to the matrix and time, right? And it's also interesting to note that the movie Doctor Strange goes there. Doctor Strange ends up being able to control time, right? And he uses this green eye to do it. And so green kind of being the center of the prism has everything to do with gravity. And so whenever I see certain esoteric features of time and like the Mandela Effect and whatnot, I always find that green really is the key to gravity's rainbow, and pink is the opposite, right? And that's why I included this old video, because I went there in this video. And it's interesting too because the green man and the solar current are very connected. And I wanted to point this out to you guys as well. I hate to use Wikipedia, but it's just kind of, so there's some things where Wikipedia is just a straight shot of simple place to go, but I do think we should boycott it. But those of you who want to have more of a energetic experience of this, moldavite is a wonderful stone to work with. for helping to stimulate awareness about time and the whole Mandela effect.